Guys, we are returning to something that we all love and knowingly referred to as Le Brown. Now, I'm really excited about this. I have now completed Godween Satan, Pure Guava, Chocolate and Cheese, 12 Golden Country Greats, The Mollusk, White Pepper, Quebec, Live in Chicago. We still have some missing ones in there, right? We do. But we are finally getting ourselves into Shinola Volume 1. Now, I called Ween a deep dive artist. This is the Tuesday album tour and the last day of the Tuesday album tour. Can I get some big jumps in the chat right now? Who the biggest old nigga you ever did see? Anyways, Ween Shinola Volume 1. We just finished Yes, Time and a Word. Fantastic album. If you haven't checked it out, you absolutely should. But guys, when I reflect on my Ween journey, just so you know behind the scenes, like I said, we just finished listening to Godween Satan, and I had such a big guitar crush on Diener's work specifically there. You get a whole lot more just oomph and punch out of him, which comes to explain a lot of what I would go on to see in live in Chicago later. But I feel like you see glimpses of his powerhouse work all throughout the albums. Also, random. I've heard Fluffy from Live in Chicago. It was a long song pie that hit so perfectly hard. I loved that song so much. I will 100% be listening to Live in Toronto, just in case anybody was wondering. Um, but I've probably spent the most amount of my listening time between all of them equally. I've thought a whole lot about this, and I've gone through so many phases where I'm just like, man, it's a mollusk day. Man, it's a 12 Golden Country Greats day. I'm on a drive. I felt like I've got a perfect amount of time between here and work to listen to White Pepper. You know, I've got a great amount of time to I've probably played along with these guys playing Roses Are Free to this specific performance at least 50 times at this point, trying to learn how to play that solo with Diener side by side. The pod is my least visited. Admittedly, I actually don't know why I'm not seeing it on here. Where'd the pod go? Why isn't it on title? That's weird. Anyways, yeah, it's not on title right now. That's weird. Well, anyways, it would be the one. It was my least favorite version of the Brown. That I would say, maybe it makes me a bad Ween fan, but the pod was my least favorite of the affair. It still had great stuff on it. Don't get me wrong. It just wasn't my absolute favorite. Pure Guava. I've probably come back to the Stallion Part 3 about 100 billion times. This is just a lot of young human child angst, which I really like. But I mean, I've got so many different kind of sentimental connections to a whole bunch of different moments in this one. I did a cover not too long ago of I Don't Want to Leave You on the Farm. You can find that on my YouTube channel if you're interested. Just I loved that song so much. You know what I mean? I've told so many people to go and listen to The Mollusk. And again, I just find myself Quebec. I mean, how many times have you told me, man, it sounds like the music took a Zoloft? You know what I mean? Or referred to something as bringing me to the Eft Jam. Yeah, like it's become a part of my musical lingo, and that's something I think is really cool. Like we anytime we mention the word neighborhood, we get so many people in the neighborhood in the chat typed in somewhere. There are so many different layers of my chat that comes from Ween culture, and even people in the chat that don't know that they're talking about Ween use the terminology, which is so cool to me. It's like people that don't know skateboarding still know what a kickflip is for the most part. Maybe they don't know the difference between a kickflip and a heel flip, but they know what a kickflip is for the most part. And I kind of feel like that's how our channel has become with the Brown. They may not know how to do it. They may not know exactly how to put their finger on the details, but they know it when they see it, and I like that. Guys, this one came out in 2004, so this would be my latest edition of listening to them. Like, as in terms of the stuff that they released, this is the thing that they released last. Actually, did Live in Chicago come out first or second? May 4th, and May the 4th be with you in January. So I don't know. Let me know which one came out first, Live in Chicago or Shinola Volume 1. Also, let me know, what is your most listened to Ween? Guys, this is a music discovery stream, so you gotta let me know. Have you heard this album before, or are you raw dogging a very first listen with me? I'm going to read some context really quick while you answer that. Shinola Volume 1 was compiled out of regret for not including the selected songs on any official albums. The compilation was released on Ween's own independent label, Choco Dog. Dean Ween later stated he had mixed feelings during the production process and was unsure if he would help compile a second volume, though later he stated it would be one of his favorite Ween records. The tracks on Shinola were made by remixing and editing various demos and studio recordings from previous recording sessions. In some cases, new material was recorded and added to the songs. Even this compilation of restored demos has a cut B-side, Dirty Money. Fun fact, this album is called Shinola because of the saying, "You don't know shit from Shinola." Since they were previously unreleased demos, you literally don't know shit from Shinola. I love it. That's fantastic. Nice little tidbit there. W for the context, crew. You'll love to see it. Guys, I'm going to hit the play button. Before I do, it's very important to me that you know that you are awesome, that you are valuable, that you are important, that you matter, that you are deserving of love, and that I am abundantly grateful for even a moment of your time. If you like what you see, feel free to hit the like and the subscribe button. It goes a long way to help me out. If you really like what you see, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you, or join us on Kick or Twitch. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Arizona time. These people over here are the best people. Come hang out with us. Come discover music with us. I know I speak for all of us when I say we would love to have you by. Guys, hopping into another chapter of The Brown, let's get into Ween with Shinola Volume 1. Fun little story here. Here we go. Opening up with Tastes Good on the Bun. It would be fun if you try to guess which song. Yo, welcome to the Rooskies first timers. Rooskies, make our new friends feel at home. I can't decide if this is like a sampled voice or if this is actually like Diener or Jeaner going, tastes. Love you, babe. Tastes good on the bun. Pod outtake appeared on the Big Timmy Wasserman tape. When asked about the song's meaning, Gene Ween simply said, "Usually, it all tastes good on the bun, in my experience, anyway." Nice. Taste good on the bun. Taste. Kind of reminds me of Constantinople by The Residents. Taste. Good on the bun. Taste. Good on the bun. Taste. Taste good on the bun. 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 Here I come, Constantinople. Here I come, Constantinople. I am coming, Constantinople. Here I come. It kind of reminds me of The Residents, dude. I also really liked his last "Taste Good on the Bun" there. By the way, if you want to watch a good YouTube video, don't go and watch me listen to The Residents duck stab. That's going to be a tremendous letdown to you if you go there expecting me to like it. I love the tongue-in-cheek bit. Oh. The are really incredible to me. I truly like them a lot. Like these random like bass chonk runs just make me so happy. But this whole "good on the bun," the good, it almost sounds like he's like impersonating a robot that's having a malfunction. Like Jeaner is the intimidating, like impersonating AI V1. You got to go back a little bit more. Good on the bun. Well, thanks, Sale. I want to see this live so bad one day. Was this when they played live? An unsuspecting brain scratcher that comes out with an endearing, just real. Yep, we're back to the brown. Like, there is zero doubt that we have entered the route of Brown Town. You know, and we've listened to some incredibly challenging avant-garde music, i.e., Drop Mask Replica, Duck Stab by the Residents. This had a little bit of that, but I think because I know the men that are Diener and Jeaner to be like lunch table level dudes, you know, dudes that passed my lunch table test, which if you didn't know what that is, my lunch table test is when I hear an artist or a band, do I immediately have the sense that I would have sat with those people at the lunch table in high school? Ween passes that time and time again. I don't know that I could come out and say that, like, you know, Captain Beefheart passed the lunch table test. I'm not going to lie to you. Frank Zappa, maybe. Captain Beefheart, maybe not. I think Captain Beefheart would be the friend that came and sat with Frank at our lunch table sometimes, and when he left, me and all of our friends would be like, Frank, but you sure? But that said, I do think listening to things like that kind of set me up for the ability to have an appreciation for things like this, which is a little bit softer in delivery. And yo, what is up, Le Caperton Duke Marriott? Le Capatron, Le Carpatron Duke Marriott. Yo, welcome to the Rooskies, homie. East versus West Bowl reference. I love your username. You're a real one. Welcome to the Rooskies. Rooskies make our new friends feel at home. Ooh, Boys Club. Love this.
Boys Club. Boys Club. Boys Club. Boys Club. Boys Club. Boys Club. Boys Club.
This sounds like a South Park song.
Boys Club.
I feel like Randy Marsh is singing this. What the heck? Boys Club was the very first Ween song recorded with keyboardist Glenn McClelland during late sessions with the Mollusk in 1996. The lead vocal has been noted as sounding like Michael McDonald of the Doobie Brothers, and artist Jeaner had previously impersonated on Sing Like Michael McDonald, the guy from the Doobie Brothers, in 1988. Yes, his voice is tape sped up. Got it. Okay. Does anybody else get the vibe that Randy Marsh is singing this?
Boys Club. Boys Club.
Take the time, have some fun. Go outside, make love in the sun. Boys Club.
Boys Club.
Oh, now, yeah.
Boys Club.
Oh, now, I'm talking about Boys Club.
Boys Club.
Like,
Boys Club.
if you there's no way you can tell me that you cannot see Randy dancing all over Tegrity Farms with his new boys club idea that he's got, you know? Like, there's no way. Yeah, this absolutely, without question, has that energy, and I love it so much because they've really made Randy sing so many songs, and he does those little random like ad libs in the back. You know, they in all of the South Park music, they do those kinds of things, and it's like, if you watch South Park, you probably have some sort of predisposition to enjoying the Brown. There's no doubt about it to me. I think that might have also explained why I had such an easy liking to Primus after I got past Mr. Crinkle and having nightmares as a child, because of the music video. There is some sort of core thing in my brain that I think associates this with like the secular world that I hid from my parents as a kid, because I was not allowed to watch South Park. I was not allowed to listen to secular music. I did those things on the sly, and when I got caught, I got in trouble for it in a big way. But I think that there was a probably some sort of formative layer to that form of media that impacted me in formative years. So when I hear stuff like this, it just rings true to me. It brings me to a specific time and place that I'm like, yep, I love it. Love it.
Ooh, yeah, talking about Boys Club.
Boys Club.
Ooh, yeah, talking about Boys.
And so, you know, South Park is probably the greatest modern social satire the world has ever known. I say that having invested a lot of time into it, but every week that they make an episode is them adding to their depth of what would be effectively a modern proposal. I like it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with title there. I do apologize.
Boys Club.
Boys
Boys Club.
Now I may not be gay, and I may not be proud, but it don't matter, 'cause I'm always allowed at Boys Club.
Boys Club.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Boys Club.
Ooh, yeah. Talking about Boys Club.
Boys Club.
Oh, baby.
Boys Club. Boys Club.
Were they
Boys
drum
Club.
machining for
Ooh,
this
yeah.
one?
Talking about Boys Club.
Boys Club. Boys Club.
Do it, baby, baby, now.
Boys Club. Boys Club.
I really like
Boys
it.
Club. Boys Club.
Does anybody else kind of get a little bit of a Masayoshi Takanaka vibe from these guitar tones and some of this like city pop kind of sound vibe? It's one of the very first times I've ever heard Ween pull this kind of sound texture out of their bottoms, and I mean, you know, pardon my French, but it's blowing me the H word away.
Boys Club. Boys Club. Boys Club.
Okay, baby, baby.
Boys Club.
Come on out to Boys Club.
Boys Club.
What an
Come on down to Boys Club.
amazing left turn after tasting on the bun.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Boys Club.
The left turn after Taste Good on the Bun, getting Boys Club, you know, featuring Randy Marsh was perfect. I loved it. That song actually unironically hit so hard. By the way, I feel like I have to say this in every Ween video because I never know who's watched, you know, anything more than just the one video. My very first reaction to Ween was the mollusk, and I did not know at the time how to feel about I'm Dancing at the Show Tonight. I was like, this is the band that did Ocean Man? Huh? And then I get the mollusk, the song, and I'm like, whoa. This is Ween, the band that did Ocean Man? And it was such a jarring moment. I didn't know, and like I kind of remembered saying like, yeah, it definitely jumps in with like whimsy and absurdism, but like I did not know how to appreciate that song on first listen. But I don't know that there's been a single bigger case of that was a grower, not a shower song than I'm Dancing at the Show Tonight, because it's an inarguable, you can never skip it song for me. This is Ocean Man band. Yeah, very many times I've had that realization. But I always feel like every video I've made since then, I need to continuously redeem I'm Dancing at the Show Tonight, because it was so wrongly judged on such a snap first impression that I didn't know what to make of it. And here we are. It's a pretty interesting take on Jeaner's voice there. It's a lot more trebly, you know? It feels compressed and very treble present. I Fell in Love Today was recorded during the demo sessions for Quebec. Not much other info other than it fits into the Quebec concept. Not much other info other than it fits into the Quebec concept. They didn't play it live as a band until 20 and 23. Holy crap. It starts off with a really cool bass run there. Kind of a drag your knuckles on the ground sort of rhythm that I like a lot. And with that said, let's go ahead and just everybody throw Diener love in the chat, like Diener W's, like throw in a whole bunch of just like friggin' big Jilms, throw in like support, just like whatever it is, like take your brain and send the goodness of your heart and energy, and aim it at Diener via whatever it is you choose to type. Because whether the band comes back or not, I think everybody can agree that we just want our guy to feel good, be comfortable and content in his own skin. I think so many people would love for him to play music again. I know I certainly would, because I became a fan after the hiatus, and I've invested probably a chunk of every day of my life since I listened to Ween. Like every day since then, I've listened to Ween in some way, shape, or form. They've shaped my vernacular. So I definitely don't know that there are too many bands that have impacted me in the same way, and I'm really sad that I never got a chance to see them play. And it would be cool to see them, but more than anything, I think me and everybody else just wants dude to be feeling good. W's for Diener.
I got nothing to lose.
What Diener was Wing about. Yep.
I saw the sun in May. I've got something to hold on to. I
think you're right.
love today.
I love the vibrato at the end of his voice on Today there.
I saw the break at dawn. I saw a child in play. I saw the spring in the winter time.
Why didn't this make it on
I
Quebec?
fell in love today.
That this didn't make it on Quebec is hilarious to me, because like when I think about the songs on Quebec, I can literally see Diener and Jeaner in my head having a conversation like, okay, do we put out the fucked jam, or do we put out I Fell in Love Today? It's down to these last two songs. And I can see both of their brains saying like, what the right decision is, but they made the one they wanted to make and not the right decision. And I love that. But I can literally, it's like you can see them like make good musical decision, make decision you want. And you see them just hammering the decision they want button. I don't know why this wouldn't have made it to that. And it's mind blowing. This is like, they were like, you know what? No, let's scrap I Fell in Love Today. That's a beautiful song. You know what we should do? Fucked jam. Point blank and period. You know why? Because it's arrhythmic, atonal, absolutely bonkers, and it's not going to make any sense to anybody. It'll make people really worried and make seemingly no sense to the rest of what we're doing. It's perfect. It's perfect. I Fell in Love Today is clearly about a whole bunch of hard stuff. Let's not give them something hopeful. Let's abuse them. It's perfect. And honestly, knowing that this could have made it to Quebec and we got that song anyway, beautiful. I would get rid of Among His Tribe or Alkenro. Oh, okay. No, I'm not gonna lie. I would still get rid of the F Jam. I think I would trade this for that, point blank and period.
A child in play. I saw the spring in the winter.
this song, dude.
I fell in love today.
I love Gina's vocal edit here.
I walk with the birds in flight. I fly with love today. Green grass never looked so good. I fell in love today. Ooh, yeah.
Check the poll, guys. Really like this. Kind of reminds me of the song Star by Heavy Moss, which came out not too long
like
ago.
$1,000,000. Nothing could break my sway. You people can't touch me. I fell in love today.
This song is incredible. Are we really going 50-50? So just so you know, I just made a poll to the chat. Which would you rather listen to? I Fell in Love Today or the F Jam? And the reason I asked that is simply for the fact of the matter that most people wouldn't just sit down and choose to listen to one song before the other, right? Like most people, it's a very clear and obvious decision. They're going to choose to listen to I Fell in Love Today, right? But we ended up with a dead split tie. I think it's hilarious that our community is kind of irreverent in the most wholesome ways. I love it. I love the fact that for whatever reason, we are the community that is equal parts. Why would we remove something that makes Ween a little bit more brown from the main album with the pretty accessible song? No, don't lighten my brown. Like, don't do that. And then the other guys are like, yeah, like, I mean, let's be real. Walter's right. Like, if I had to just choose one song over the other to listen to, I'd probably listen to I Fell in Love Today. As much as I want to be a cool, Ween fan that says I unironically picked the F Jam first, it's not who I am. I respect people for it being who they are. And I honestly love the fact that this is a perfect yin and yang description of the fan base of Ween. This song exists perfectly fine on Shinola. Let's be real. There is an element of me that I think Quebec needs that brain scratch moment in the middle of the whole thing. It makes I Don't Want It pay off in a much better way by the time you get there. I understand it, but I don't want it. I get it. I get it. I think in that same breath, it would potentially ruin some of the impact that I don't want it has. If you were to do that. So I think that I Fell in Love Today is a victim of successful circumstance, and I love that it still found a place in the catalog. I love that it found place in live stage performances. This is good stuff. That was honestly a really strong first impression of a Ween song. Yeah, but for Quebec, I'd rather the F Jam. That is just perfectly. Yeah, I think I totally get what you guys are saying, but I think that this moment really highlights an interesting part about what makes the Ween community so cool. You know what I mean? Like, we 50-50'd out pretty perfectly, and I let that be an intentionally divisive question. You know, you guys are the best. Big fat F word. Nice. Is this a pure guava or the pod? Pure. As with many of the creators of sax songs, the exact wording, recording date of Big Fat Fuck is unknown, but it is thought to have been recorded sometime around 1996. They ate a bunch of pork rolls and then immediately recorded. Beautiful. The mollusk era. How many pork rolls did they eat? I mean, I've been there, but how many does one eat? What is one average, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York citizen say is the amount of pork roll that makes one feel that big? Like ballpark. Circusy, but they always do those things. When these circusy moments happen, right? When those circusy kind of moments happen, I feel like circus kind of sounds are those chromatic rhythms or beats. Can you forgive me if I'm being ignorant? Can you give me like the mode, I guess, that circus music is typically played in when we hear these moments? By the way, I didn't notice this about Tidal before, but All Requests Live did make the appearance. I didn't realize that that was its own album. So can't wait to do that one. I just noticed that there's all 5 parts of the Stallion here in a row. Wow. Sorry, that one really got exciting. I'd never opened the track list until just that moment, but I was sitting here thinking as we were going through this, like, wait a minute, did I actually see that earlier, or am I imagining things? And sure as heck far I did. So
I don't mean to be so insolent, but you know it's cause I love you.
is this a chocolate and
The
cheese song?
foundation of my malevolence. You know I'd never hurt you, baby. Sometimes I might get edgy, but a man can sometimes be that way. Nobody's perfect, baby, and I'll always love you anyway. Oh, Gabrielle, the sun is shining in your eyes. Oh, Gabrielle, I didn't mean to make you cry. Oh, my sweet baby doll, I'll put you above everything. Oh, Gabrielle, I love you till the day I die.
Okay, this version of Gabrielle present on Shinola Volume 1 was originally recorded in 1992 during the demo sessions for Chocolate and Cheese. The song was written by Dean Ween and has a notable stylistic resemblance to the 1970s band Thin Lizzy. Darn tootin' it does. As Dean explained, I had just discovered Thin Lizzy probably that week. And I was so friggin' I was friggin' listening to nothing but that, and I wrote that song. I love to hear that. I'm guessing Jeaner is singing it, but you definitely have that like kind of jailbreak.
I'll put you above everything. Oh, Gabrielle, I love you till the day I die. Sometimes I feel like my old man. You know that's hard for me to say. And sometimes I just lose my head. Don't know why I get that way. I wanna keep you happy, darling. It could only work out that way. Nobody's perfect, baby, and I'll always love you anyway. Oh, Gabrielle, the sun is shining in your eyes. Oh, Gabrielle, I didn't mean to make you cry. Oh, my sweet baby doll, I'll put you above everything. Oh, Gabrielle, I'll love you till the day I die. Well, Gabrielle, you know I love you, baby. I do nothing to hurt you, baby, but you know I got to love you anyway. Oh, Gabrielle, you're so nice. You know I love you, baby.
Dude, best song of the album right now. I was going to play along with the song, and I got a little gun shy when Diener came in. I'm not gonna lie, that might have been one of his most solid on the album works, period. Oh my gosh. Can we all agree to the fact that we know that I am not as good a guitar player as Diener is? First and foremost. Second, can we agree that I'm just doing this for fun as a salute to, you know, an artist that I like. When I hear music that I'm just inspired to play with, it's one of the best, hat tips I can give. So I might totally butcher this. I've never played this song before. I've never heard this song before. I'm literally just jumping in. So forgive me.
Man, that's darling. It could only work out that way. Nobody's perfect, baby, and I'll always love you anyway. Oh, Gabrielle, the sun is shining in your eyes. Oh, Gabrielle, I didn't mean to make you cry. Oh, my sweet baby doll, I put you above everything. Oh, Gabrielle, I love you till the day I die.
Good. You can only hear Diener play? Really? That was kind of convenient then. You didn't hear how that perfect. That means you didn't hear how bad I did, huh? Like good stuff there, huh? You guys should be getting some pretty good sauce, right? But that was so much fun. Here. I'm losing the confidence here. At bare minimum, my volume should be leveled. I wish I would have had it turned up the first time around because I felt like I ripped the first one a lot better than I ripped the second one. Gabrielle ripped. God knows though. I've made it known time and time again that guitar players like Diener and Trey Anastasio and certainly Jerry Garcia, since I've done this journey, have totally changed the way I approach playing the guitar. You know, they they inspired me to learn different ways than I would normally play. I started feeling like I wanted more out of playing leads than just octave chords. And I'm still not a perfectly practiced person. Improvisation was never something I had ever gone out of my way to improvise, like learn to do. It's never a practice I ever sought out. And further than that, you have to learn the practice, right? Like when you play chords, but to somebody who's never even thought about taking steps into learning how to play improvisational music and stuff like that, there's such a seemingly massive entry barrier to it. And guitarists like Diener, Trey, and Jerry made me want to learn to be able to kind of just jump in and be able to play around and fit into a different context. And they made me practice things I never would have practiced otherwise. And I really, really, really think in a lot of ways they've served as teachers to me, that I really appreciate. And I'm still never going to be as good as a lot of the people that we listen to, right? But I've definitely gotten more of a confidence to try to put myself out there because there have been moments in pressure situations where I really did feel like I kind of rose to an occasion and played something that I kind of looked back at and was like, man, I'm really glad I've been practicing because I'm seeing improvement. And even if I might not seem like a really good guitar player, getting to see my own improvement through this journey has been a really huge gift to me, and it's something I've really appreciated that you guys have been so cool with. So thank you for sometimes indulging me as I butcher a song. It's a lot of fun to me, and there's just nothing like the feeling of wanting to participate in the music. It's how I learned to play. So yeah, there's something very formative to me about that relationship with music. You know, something about hearing a song on the radio and wanting to jam to it. I don't know how to put that forward. Next song, Did You See Me? I guess it's one of those if you know, feelings. Is this a goofy? Kind of a maggot brainy thing here, huh? Chocolate cheesy? Did You See Me was originally recorded in 1995. Okay, so the Mollusk one, 19 and 95 during the first Beach House recording sessions of for the Mollusk. I've always thought that it would fit nicely after Ocean Man. Let me know what you think after Waving a Freeing Tree. Okay. A free in the tree. Waving free in the tree. This album cover feels like kind of a weird colored pencil Dia de Muerte profile skull. Another song I want to jam with so bad. Shift huge there. The goopy spacey stuff. Big goopy ambient noises. So did they overdub like effectively years old projects to get this stuff, or like was it like they revisited and revamped and just kind of rebuilt, like going through old notebooks and being like, oh, we still have this, let's finish this, I think I've got some good ideas here, and just polish it? Or how did they do it? Some of it was remixed, some of it was re-recorded, like they heard it and then they just rebuilt the sounds. Gene wrote this riff for sure. It's doing the mutilated lips changes almost. Doesn't Gene also slightly tune his guitar differently? I think he has one string tuned differently on Mutilated Lips, but I could be wrong. Kind of a proggy style moment. Like these goopy moments are super cool. Like this digital goop, right? Like like this kind of oscillating synthy sound, but it also feels like they've incorporated, folly that they kind of created to get to that point. I really love it. Definitely has a little bit of a Animals vibe, Floyd, a little bit of a Jethro Tull sort of like staccato style, and just this kind of distant "Did you see me" sort of lyric really stands out. Honestly, I feel like this is exactly the kind of song that if they played it live, it would hit a really huge performance level. Like a lot of their, kind of goofier, brownier, goopier sounds translate into these really big, massive guitar like jam sessions, like where they're not jamming, but they just really make massive space out of the sound, like Fluffy. Like what I heard on the Live in Toronto thing, like where they just set that alive. This feels like the kind of song that they could Fluffy from Live in Toronto, Argus.
Did you see me?
You're gonna list all of those songs and not the Argus?
Sand and sea, believe me. But did you see me?
Hmm.
Waving it free.
I don't know what this feels like Spinetta stuff means, but I certainly like this. That song was probably the second best one. I mean, honestly, Gabrielle and Did You See Me were my two favorites. I mean, Boys Clubs was fun in the silly way, but we just had two back-to-back songs that you could take super serial, you know? I absolutely loved it. The cutout is my favorite part. That transition going into the very end. One of those, it's like kind of a Say Sura without it really being one. I don't, because I feel like it still kept timing, but it could have been. I mean, honestly, this is a classic case of Ween doesn't miss, like all Ween, good Ween. But there's something about the last two that have just really been, I think, the powerhouse force behind the excitement for me. Like all of it's been good, silly, funny, yeah, but it kind of shows you like kind of a fun timepiece, a little bit of a guessing game, right? Like you don't know what came from where unless we have circumstantial evidence. I don't. So for me in this moment, it's like I have a bit of a guessing game. Like which album do I think it might have gone with? But then I also get to hear something that I haven't heard before. I get to kind of hear their evolution because you can tell that this comes from varying different time periods. You kind of sit and play the game with yourself, like what song would you remove from the album if it was from this album or that album? And then you kind of say, like, why did they not put this on an album? It's got a lot of fun little travel, to it. It's got a lot of little nooks and crannies that kind of present a really fun retrospective of the journey so far. Got nothing but good things about this one. Got to run an ad, so give me a few. Almost, I thought I unmuted, but I didn't. Okay, let's get back into this. And how high can you fly? Feels like it could be maybe white peppery. Maybe not, I don't know. As with many of the creators of the sax songs, the exact record date, how high can you fly, is unknown. Kind of feels like they say I'd like to see you fly. If it reminds me of Fearless. Weird. It reminds me of Fearless. They say I'd like to see you try climbing. You guys want me to get Jersey Girl and see if the lead to that works in this part? The down, 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 down.
Can you get high? How high can you fly? Yeah.
I don't think it will.
How high can you
This song is tremendous. I'm not gonna lie, for such kind of a simple song, that went kind of, that was one of the hardest songs coming up. So this one, one of the hardest songs on the album, and maybe it's just that connection it has to Fearless to me, because I like, let's be real, I've made it very known that I'm like such a Floyd stan, but like I'm Stan Floyd, okay? But I think that there is all throughout Ween's work little love letter Easter eggs kind of placed throughout all of their songs, right? Like it's very obvious that they were just deep into that sound. This next one is Transitions. I like seeing the homage throughout the work. More of that Masayoshi Takanaka kind of guitar vibes. That kind of frail Stratocaster sound.
Aesthetic, universal saturation in the grip of the morning sun. The creosote that erodes all the odors that lie dormant when the day is done.
Yeah, the Mutron.
The dingle on the ferry takes you back to a dimension that's just begun. Riding the crest of the communion to a union, Harry Truman is the holy son. Thesis.
I love this so much. This little city pop vibe. These little like random, I think they're little like Mixolydian moments, like doon 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 doon. You know, but it changes modes. It seems because this feels more like pentatonic scale. Diener switching lead modes is so nice. Give me a second. I'm going to show you what I mean, because this is one of maybe the biggest guitar lesson I ever learned from Diener. Okay. Besides the most obvious one that you need to decide if you're going to hold your guitar above your dick or below your dick, it can never be over your dick. Once you have decided that, okay, we are let me figure out the key of the song really quick. Give me one moment. Okay. There it is. Okay. So let me bring that down a little bit. It was a little hot, but Okay. So it seems like we're in A mixolydian, which would put us in F sharp minor pentatonic. Okay. So, if you didn't know this, you kind of hear this change modes to where the leads kind of doing that, but if you that's like your A mixolydian scale. If you were to go down to your F sharp minor pentatonic, that's what I mean when I say Diener changes modes. He's the guy that made me realize you could connect two different scales. Oop. I didn't do that right just because I'm trying to over explain it, but
On the ferry takes you back to the dimension that's just begun.
okay, B flat.
Riding the crest of the communion to a union Harry Truman.
So that would be, if it's B flat, that would be G sharp minor pentatonic, and it would be a flat, a B flat.
He says.
So, I say all that to say I pegged the key wrong, but his ability, like, you know, especially when you see him live in Chicago, that was probably the first time I ever really connected it. But you see him go from like these like he goes from kind of like this chromatic scale into a pentatonic scale when he does that like guitar mini moment with Jeaner, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was two different moments, and he does that all throughout his work, and it occurred to me like, wow, I could try doing that same thing. After doing that, it occurred to me, you know, if I've got these connectivities, you know, on the fretboard, maybe that applies elsewhere. I then heard him talk about listening to Jimmy Page, just kind of going all or nothing and being such a brown guitar player, having fraps in all of his bootlegs, and it just really went. And worked out for him. So I've tried a lot more to just kind of go for it and miss big if I'm gonna miss, and if I'm gonna miss, add a taster and fall on something I know how to do. And that whole approach of just being a dirty player and being fine with it changed the way I looked at music. It really did. It made me feel more confident about just being rough and dirty myself. It's something I love so much about other musicians, but never allowed myself to really do or let people see me, you know, fail at. So I am, yeah. There's an abundance one can learn from just listening to Diener play and watching him. But it all starts with deciding if you're going to hold your guitar above or below your dick. Now, Ace, yo, it's so great to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Rooskies, welcome our friend Ace, a long time friend of the Rooskies. Yeah, we can absolutely go back. Sorry, forgive me.
Takes you back to the dimension that's just begun. Riding the crest of the communion to
Never.
a union Harry Truman is the holy sun. He says.
I really love this guitar this might be the best one on the album. I don't know, man. They keep having a couple of them that have like a good argument. Actually, no, I don't know. I think Gabrielle is just definitively my favorite on this album. I just think that that's the case. But I also think that I'm really hearing a lot more of a Masayoshi Takanaka vibe. I don't know if Diener ever listened to Masayoshi Takanaka, but it's that Mutron kind of envelope filtered like bridge or middle pickup position on a Stratocaster sound that's just real jangly, kind of frail, not a lot of rounded bass to it. Really, it's kind of a weird texture, but it rises right above a mix. It's like, you hear metal guys talk about scooping mids. One interesting subtext about that. I once got so cooked in a comment when I made a joke saying like, I hear a lot of guys in metal studios save money because they don't have to pay for any of the mids. And somebody really thought I was serious when I said that, which I think is more a them problem than a me problem. But in this case, an abundance of mids really punches through a mix. There seems like maybe a really compressed sound to that guitar tones, but I'm not quite sure how to accomplish it though. But I guess that's like the eternal like, how do you get Jerry's tone question,
Saturation in the grip of the morning sun. The creosote that erodes all the odors that lie dormant when the day is done. Heart that tingle on the ferry takes you back to that dimension that's just begun.
I think that my Telecaster, the P90s, would be closer to accomplishing this tone than my 335.
He says.
Transitions was a friggin' nice little taster ending, dude. We take taster endings here, don't we? Thought that was a taster ending with the best of them. I want to kind of hear the way that resolved again. Gratuitous taster. Really loved it. Israel. I'm getting kind of a saxophone boner. Okay, Israel is a soft jazz song with new age and minor funk elements in the key of A minor. The recording date of Israel is unknown, and the song was unknown to the fans until it was remixed, until its remix release on Shinola. Uniquely among Shinola songs, the original demo is still not in circulation, with there being no indication as to what era the song was first recorded under. It is speculated it was made specifically for Shinola. Ooh. Okay, let's run that back. Love that bass walk.
And hallowed be God's greatness. In this world of your creation, may your will be fulfilled and your sovereignty revealed. In the days of our lifetime and the life of the whole house of Israel, speedily and soon, and say, Amen.
It feels like this could have a place in Chocolate and Cheese with his Eddie Hazel love. That album specifically.
be abundant. Descend from heaven with life for us and for all Israel, and say Amen. May God, who makes peace on high, bring peace to all and to all Israel, and say Amen. It's initially was not messages here.
Was that a reversed voice there? Okay, so Garrett, I'm glad you asked that question because I wanted to ask that question. I don't know if he's playing like a Northern Jewish rabbi character for the purpose of the song, because it doesn't sound like the way Jeaner talks. But if he did go like if he did grow up Jewish and like get bar mitzvah, I'm guessing he probably heard plenty of dudes in his upbringing with an accent that sounded something like that. So it definitely doesn't sound, like I said, like Jeaner. Doesn't sound like his natural voice. It sounds like he's doing a character. And you can tell it's Jeaner talking, but it does sound like Jeaner is doing a character.
To all Israel, and say Amen. It's initially was not messages here.
Night, Jules. Love you, lady. Have a good work. The lyrics to Israel consist of a recitation of the mourner's Kaddish, traditionally practiced in Judaism to mourn the death of a close relative at a funeral, and then for 11 months after and every year since the passing. It has never been elaborated as to if the song has personal meaning. You know, interesting subtext about that. Geddy Lee had to, he went through that as a child when he lost his father. I read that in his autobiography, and it was fantastic, but it certainly shaped him as a young man and who he would grow up to be. That particular process, like 11 months of like mourning was brutal for him. Very interesting. Read his book.
Exalted and hallowed be God's greatness. In this world of your creation, may your will be fulfilled and your sovereignty revealed. In the days of our lifetime and the life of the whole house of Israel, speedily and soon, and say Amen. And yes, now, where's it long?
Reversed lyrics after he says it. It's so interesting, though. And why do I get like a silly, sort of almost goofy spaghetti western sound vibe?
May you be blessed forever, even to all eternity. May you, most holy one, be blessed, praised and honored, extolled and glorified, adored and exalted above all else. Blessed are you beyond all blessings and hymns, praises and consolations that may be uttered in this world, and with this and say, Amen. Israel,
played the horn?
Israel, 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 Israel.
You hear the Israel's panning all over your head here?
Israel, Israel, Israel.
For whatever reason, the clarinet kind of vibe, it reminded me a little bit of the Godfather theme music. Some more embracing his Jewish heritage. I would say that's probably accurate. Super cool. The Rift. I need lyrics. The Rift was written and recorded in 1992 during sessions for Chocolate and Cheese. It's the first known to have been demoed in the spring of 1992, appearing in the Vallejo demo tape. It would then be professionally recorded at Graphic Sound Studio on June 7th, 1992 with Scott Love on backing vocals. Who's Scott Love? Hey, Nighters, thanks for hanging out, homie. Welcome back. I do like those crazy diving reverbs.
There's a rift out in space, and it could be the door, but you know I'm not sure. There's a rift out in space, and it could be the door, but you know I'm not sure. If you go through the rift to the palace of ice, might it be nice? Is it paradise? If you go through the rift to the palace of ice, might it be nice?
Those
I'm
moments
the
are so
commander
nice.
of time in my vessel of God. I go through the rift to the palace of ice. I'm the commander of time in my vessel of God. I go through the rift to the palace of ice.
I
We
agree
may
with you.
never come back from the palace of ice because the
I definitely agree with Boar in the fact that this could be a fit on the mollusk. It's a little bit less nautical sounding than some of it, but then let's be honest, some of the mollusk is not nautical sounding at all.
rift is a door. We may never come back from the palace of ice because the rift is a door. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
You definitely hear Junior's love of new wave in some moments of the music. I think a lot of 90s bands kind of end up using some of these
Out in space,
4/4
could be the door,
round
but you
4/4
know I'm
songs,
not sure.
creating sort of ambience and,
If you go
you know,
through the rift
trying to
to the
make 4
palace of ice,
chords.
might it be nice? Is it paradise? I'm the commander of time in my vessel of God. I go through the rift.
This album has had so many bangers. It's unbelievable that these were
We
throwaways.
may never come back from the palace of ice because the rift is a door. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah,
The goopy, crazy stereo divey sounds, the siren-y stuff. This is so nice. So he's got 2 red guitars. I think one of them is a George. I've seen him with a couple of different guitars. It depends on, I guess, the context we're seeing him or Goog. Like I've seen him most with his red Strat. I've seen him with the George Harrison thing. He's got what looks like a D'Angelico or an Ibanez. It looks like a Jerry Garcia, like kind of Tiger-esque sort of guitar. I don't know what it exactly is. I've seen him with a couple, but the really the most consistent acts I've seen him with is his red Strat with the the white pick guard and the little pick scrape right above the pick guard. Last 2 songs are bangers. You guys know in 9 hours we're going to be meeting here tomorrow morning to do all 5 of the Police's catalog. It's going to be an interesting day tomorrow. Yeah, he died. And, so interesting subtext about Doug Irwin. Jerry Garcia's will had his guitars go back to Doug Irwin. I guess when Doug Irwin died, Tiger was auctioned off and Derek Trucks bought it, which is incredible for like millions of dollars, which is super cool, but neither here nor there. Monique the Freak was originally recorded in 1995 during the Mollusk sessions and saw a semi-official release on Creators of the Sack in 1999. It would later receive overdubs and editing in the mid-2000s for release on Shinola. This version is significantly altered, remixed, and shortened, but polished. It's another Prince-inspired song. Love to hear it. We got 2 songs to go. This feels dancey and Princey for sure.
Moving all across the floor.
Dude.
Oh, mercy. Girl, you look so sexy. Saw you coming through the door. Oh, baby. Such a fine lady. Talking and your voice is deep.
This song rips.
Oh, baby. Such a fine lady. I can hardly speak. Monique.
I want to like it again. This is amazing.
Sexy baby, girl, you drive me crazy. Let me take you for a drive. Sexy baby, girl, you drive me crazy. My body comes alive. Got to make you mine. Girl, you're so divine. Oh, there's no use trying. Make you feel so fine. Got to have you, girl. Take you around the world. Make you stop to swirl. Such a lovely girl.
I can't get past that rhythm. Like it's just such a clean, punchy tone. Again, with that kind of middle pickup of a Stratocaster thing with I don't know, kind of it's a really clean tone, kind of punchy headroom there. How does he get his voice like that? I think I'm gonna tweak. How does he get that crunch? Talk about? Did I make you yawn? And then we're back to the clean tone. Oh my god. Hey, first timers, people that have never heard Ween before or raw doggers of this album, what are you thinking of it? Have the Ween won you over? I'm just asking that before we finish up the last minute of this song and hop into this, to the last song someday and see if this thing sticks the landing. Dean Ween does more than Fred, buddy.
Baby, girl, you drive me crazy. Let me take you for a drive. Let me take you for a drive. Sexy baby, girl, you drive me crazy. My body comes alive. Gotta make you mine. Girl, you're so
Such a
divine.
slap.
Oh, there's no use trying. Make you feel so fine. Gotta have you, girl. Take you round the world. Stop to swirl, such a lovely girl. I think I'm gonna tweak. Can't hardly speak. I think I'm gonna tweak. Can't hardly speak.
And just the hard stop. Man, I love it. All right, guys, we're coming in the last song. This album's been tremendous. I mean, honestly, this complete month has been riddled with nothing but mega bangers. I'm so happy about it. I think closing this down with Browntown has been just the perfect way to cherry cap the month. And yeah, guys, by the way, it is April Fool's Day now. And here in like 9 hours, we're going to listen to all of the Police's catalog. And before we do that, we're going to listen to this closer someday. Here we go. Let's see if this thing sticks the landing, huh? Someday was originally recorded during a demo sessions for the Quebec album. Diener wanted to end Quebec on a more hopeful note, but Gene insisted on a heavy gut punch on If You Could Save Yourself.
Someday you will hear me sing a love song. One day I'll find a girl to call my own.
Oh, man. Thinking about this being on Quebec. Oh, man.
Bringing it all together. Doing it on my own. Walking hand in hand like lovers. And if you wished upon the moon, then it may be one day soon.
I want to say, throughout my Ween journey, I have actually been on a journey of my own in life. And what's really cool is jumping into this. I absolutely agree with this now. I think the guy that started my Ween reaction was a guy that wanted to believe this. But I think now it's safe to say with much proof in my portfolio, many moments of proven concept, I can say I believe it. Things did change. My circumstance did change. I did my part. I affected things. I picked myself up. I called myself out on being the victim of the problems I created. And I started building my life up in a way that was positive first. And, um, it came after addressing a lot of negatives with myself, right? But giving myself grace to move past those things. And um, even in just my own Ween reactions, if I go back and watch those, I can see different stages of Walter. I can see the guy that listened to Quebec thinking to myself, I understand it, but I don't want it. And still at that time feeling like a guy that understood it but didn't want it. In a weird, in its own way, it's been a huge evolution. And it took me a while to I had to do a lot of processing, but there is such a cool retrospective that comes with listening to Ween's music and being able to kind of place it. And the idea of putting a hopeful song there at the end and knowing that story alone makes it kind of nice. Because I get to play the what if they did end the song with the 500 days of summer ending where the JGL meets a girl named Autumn instead of indicating that he's moved on from his breakup with Summer. But I kind of like that they didn't 500 days of summer they kind of just let you gut punch and move forward. And all the same, I like the heart behind Diener wanting to leave it with some level of hope. And maybe in some ways he was trying to let his boy know, hey man, you'll find a girl to call your own. You'll bring it all together. You'll do it on your own. I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think of what if and what could have been and what might have been and for what reason those might have been.
I'll find a girl to call my own. Bringing it all together. Doing it on my own. Walking hand in hand like lovers. And if you wished upon the moon, then it may be one day soon.
This is really good. I think it allows Shinola to kind of end with a little hope.
Monday,
I had pizza for lunch too.
Tuesday is pizza day.
If you like this moment of this song, do me a favor. I'm going to type this name in the chat here. This was a very short-lived band. I want to make sure I'm spelling it right. Called Parek and Singh. They were from India. Parek and Singh. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is correct. This is who I want you to look up. These guys. If this part of this music sounds good to you, I think you are absolutely going to be in love with almost anything that band did. Ghost is a really good song. Philosophize Me is a really good song. There's a lot of really good songs, but listen to Parek and Sing if you dig this part.
Monday, Tuesday
It's Tuesday right now.
is pizza day.
Now I guess it's technically Wednesday, but
Pizza day. it may be one day soon.
I know you guys were all talking about Pizza Day earlier. And I quoted the Aquabats. Kind of a Beatlesy ending there, huh? This really sticks the landing, dude. Kind of just got lost in it there at the end. That I really loved those kind of Jerry Garcia, Masayoshi Takanaka, Stratocaster, middle position pickup, Mutron filtered sound. I really, really, really liked it. I like the. I mean, I knew, of course, going into like a deep dive month, I was inclined to like all of the albums I came into because I cherry picked them like out of the artists who I have already proven to be like, you know, stan worthy to me. I just, you know, getting another body of work to add to the Ween catalog that I get to listen to is just really lovely. Getting to, you know, knock out a couple of albums in not too long a course of time has been great. But this really just kind of showed almost like a montage of the past journey, you know, like the things that never made it, but you know, the memories we made along the way, the friends we made along the way, the varying guitar tones. Like you still get those things that make it them, like the voice acting, ripping Diener solos, you know, like the stereo stuff, the Brown stuff, the fact that the music sounds like it's probably on you know, drowsy on Downer sometimes, but also hyper aware and massively overpowerful, you know, overpowerful with delivery and its guitar textures. Like there's just a lot to be said about this. I know I kind of fell apart there at the end. It's late. I'm sorry. Guys, I can't wait to keep going through Ween. I mean, seriously, this is... There's a reason they're on the deep dive list. The lunch table test is like a tried and true, you know, like variable. It is... What is it? What's the word I'm looking for? A litmus test. I think that's what I'm looking for. Like the lunch table test is a really good character litmus test. I think I'm saying the right thing here. I've just recently learned what that is, so forgive me. But neither here nor there. I think that there's no doubt to me that they passed the lunch table test. I absolutely, if time, geography, and you know, yeah, that's it. And I think if we would have ended up sitting at the same lunch table if we were the same age in the same place, no doubt about it. And that to me makes it so much fun. Guys, I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for the positivity that you show both to me and to one another. This stream was friggin' awesome. This was a great way to close down the Deeper Look tour. Thank you guys again. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for the positivity that you show both to me and to one another. Continue to be the best. And until I see you next, be introspective and consider the birds. Goodbye.
Bad boys.